are for another Frontline Systems Lunch and Learn. My name is Steve Erickson. I'm your presenter today. Our subject today is how can your sales team benefit from Sage CRM? So our subpoints are why use a CRM? Why do I need it? I'm out of the office all the time. What do I do? And I like Outlook, and I really don't want to change. So with those subpoints, let's get started. In a little introduction to Sage CRM. This is a product from Sage Software. You are here more than likely because you're already using some Sage activities, Sage 300, Sage Pro, or something else in the Sage family. And so Sage CRM is another Sage product. It is a web-deployed product, so it can be used anywhere. We'll get into that in a minute. And it will integrate with other Sage applications. We'll also get into that in a minute. But salespeople are unique in their needs. When we look at CRM across an organization, from administrative to manufacturing to other areas, salespeople in particular have a unique need, and they try to fulfill this need in several different ways. They need to keep track of who their customers are if they have an assigned group of customers. They need to keep track of who they need to call and when. And they need to keep track of documents or quotes or notes or other conversations that they may have had. And what they try to do is to do this in a variety of different ways. Some people use Outlook heavily. We'll look at that a little bit in a minute. Some use a notebook. Some use Excel spreadsheets. And what CRM is intended to do is to bring all that data that a salesperson needs into a common location, into a place where the salesperson can see the data, where other people, if they have people assisting them, if they have schedulers, or if they have to have quotes approved, or whatever your operational is, it is a central place for them to put that information. And that's what we're going to try and look at here today. If I'm a salesperson, how would I use this, and why would it be beneficial to me? So with that in mind, let's take a look. On the screen here today, I've got Sage CRM 7.3, the latest and greatest version with the latest look and feel. And I'm open as a user called admin. We're going to look at 3 different users here in just a minute. And the administrative user drops into a calendar when you first log into the system. And the calendar is a logical place, and there are a variety of places that you can drop into the system, but the calendar is a very logical place. So let's spend a few minutes on the calendar. So in a sales operation, the calendar is really used to identify when I need to do something, who I need to do it with, and remind me that I need to get there. So when I go look at a calendar, I may want to look at it by the day of the week, the month. That is just a preference-based. But what I'm trying to do is aggregate or keep track of a variety of different elements of data from the calendar. And the first thing that a lot of salespeople will say is, well, I use Microsoft Outlook for that. And you're right. If I bring Outlook in, we have a calendar function. This happens to be my Outlook. So we have a calendar function in Outlook. And so now the response is, well, now all of a sudden I'm managing 2 calendars. And this, again, is where CRM's role as an aggregator of this data starts to play in. And that is, we can integrate your Outlook either directly from Exchange or to your local Outlook calendar. We can integrate Outlook to CRM. Now, you can't see that here because I'm in a demo copy of CRM, but what would happen is when I add something to CRM, it would update Outlook, and when I add something to Outlook, it would update CRM, and it does that the best way through a direct Exchange integration. Now, that's getting technical, and we don't want to do that in this presentation, but it helps to eliminate that question of now I'm managing 2 different calendars. So why do I like the CRM calendar over the Outlook calendar? Now, if I bring my Outlook calendar back in again, you'll see I use colors, and that's because I have kids. And so, I've got the linked basketball schedule in green, and I've got the linked high school calendar in this kind of orangey pink, and then blue is my standard Outlook calendar. So in my CRM, blue is what's linking back to CRM, because the other ones are just linked calendars for me, and they're just there as informational purposes. So when I go into a GoToMeeting invite, as an example, in my own calendar here, is relatively benign on how it looks and feels. And the other issue is all meetings are meetings. There's not a lot of segregation. But when I go to CRM, one of the nice things that comes through here is I can set an appointment or a task. So if I set an appointment, I can get very granular with this appointment. I can first link it back to a company. So I can come back here and link it back. Yep, let me get rid of that. Link it back to a company and just grab one from, say, 3G Homes here. I can look at, who is my contact and get their phone number readily as I create the appointment. But now I can create any number of meetings. And this is where it becomes important for a salesperson, because we control what this list looks like. They have phone in, phone out, letter in, letter out. You may want that. You may just want a single indicator. But these lists, these drop downs, are how we tailor the system to be unique to your sales operation, to be unique to the way you as an individual salesperson in that team likes to use the system. So when I come through here, I'm just going to say letter out, just to pick something different. Subject is, whatever. And I can put locations, I can put details to this, and then I have a status here: canceled, complete, pending, or in progress. So it's pending, I haven't done it yet. Set my time and day, I can set reminders, I can do repeats, I can do all the things that I do in Outlook, but I can now also attach multiple people. Again, not too different to what I do in Outlook, but here we come into others. If I have projects or jobs or other things that I want to connect this to, I can do an about here, I can connect it to an opportunity. And so now all of a sudden I'm starting to link information from the company 3G Homes, from the person, it's Clement Sticking, from the project or opportunity we're working on to do a test here in this case. I know that it's a letter out. If I have projects and jobs, these are add-ins that we've put in the system in other demos, but if I have projects and jobs, I can attach to those as well. And now, when I'm in the opportunity called Test Driveway, I can see this communication. When I'm in the company, I can see this communication. When I'm in my own system, I can see all my communications, and it's a way to segregate that data. And that becomes important if I'm managing 100, 150, 200 contacts. I may not be able to keep up with that in an Excel spreadsheet or even inside of Outlook because it's not granular enough. So when I come through and save this into the calendar now, and it comes in, I get a little icon. Now, I personally, in my own CRM, use icons extensively, and I use the month view because I can look out over a day or two or a week and just see how much activity I have to work with. So we can tailor these icons to the individual activities, and that simply means based on what I select here, I would get a different icon coming onto that calendar. Now, theirs are all very black and dark looking. We use color in ours also to indicate what they do. So, a blue phone just means I need to call someone. A red phone means it's scheduled, don't miss it. And so these are some of the functionalities that you can do in a CRM system to better manage your time as a salesperson, to help you to not miss things that are important or that are scheduled, but also to balance the amount of hey, just make a call to this person that you're doing versus the amount of actual scheduled events that you're doing. So the calendar becomes a really, really, really important thing. And we do two things here. We do appointments, which we were just working on, and appointments have start times and end times. And then we have tasks here. And so tasks are, a subject to detail, a due date, and a start time. Now, when we go back to Outlook in this calendar integration, so we have calendar, which links with appointments, and then we have tasks, and this links with the task area of the CRM system. So you're not losing anything. If I insert a task into Outlook, it will build a task in CRM. But what you lose by using it in Outlook first is you lose the ability to get really granular. Meaning if you did 10 appointments in Outlook, it's going to come in with 10 of the exact same icons no matter what the appointments are for. Now you can change them once they get into CRM, but that's the downside of them coming in from Outlook. The positive side is, what can you do with Outlook? You can connect it to your iPad, your iPhone, your Android device, whatever your mobile technology platform is, you can connect it. So when I take my iPhone or my iPad and I update a meeting, or I insert a meeting or a task into the components on that iPhone, that Android phone, that mobile device, it will then update, of course, Exchange if I'm connected to the Exchange server, or now in the latest, they can do this with Gmail. So now Exchange is updated with that appointment. What does that do? Exchange propagates it down to my Outlook on my desktop, but it will also propagate it into CRM. So now I've created this cohesive ability. When I'm in the office or when I'm on my iPad remotely, I can work in CRM, I can set appointments, I can set schedules, but when it's not available, virtually all of us are carrying a phone of some type hooked to our email, hooked to our Exchange environments, our Gmail environments, and we can now put that doctor's appointment, if it's that simple. Remind yourself that you've got a doctor appointment at Tuesday at 1 o'clock so that you don't schedule other things on top of that doctor appointment. And that's use of the calendar. That's a huge piece, and I've just spent a huge amount of time just talking about the calendar. So let's go on. This whole area of CRM is called My CRM, and it's called My CRM for a reason, because it has everything I need in it. And so from the My CRM area at the top of the screen, I can go to dashboards and I can look at dashboard assemblies. I can go all the way across these different areas of the system, and it is all about what I am trying to do here. So we're opening up an interactive dashboard right now. It's retrieving data, a little slower than I wanted it to. It was faster in test. But here it comes, and it starts to populate out, and it shows me what my opportunities are. Are there any actions? What stage are they in? I have overall opportunity statuses, and again, this is the admin's look, so there's not a lot here. If I go over to this user, they have a much more active dashboard in place, or much more proficient salesperson. And so here we can put together a variety of quick look data. Again, to keep that salesperson focused on what's important to them, we can come in here and take a look at, what is my trending, where is my progress on open opportunities, and that data is simply coming from here, the opportunities tab, where I create the details. So that's dashboards. We've looked at calendars. If I go to opportunities, and of course, this person is it'll take just a second to log that person back in. It comes to a default template. I had rolled the template to something else, but let's just go to opportunities. So here we have an opportunity screen. Now this is the same data that was on that dashboard that we looked at, or it's the same place that that data is. The dashboard is just an alternate view. And now here in these opportunities, I've got a whole list telling me, description, who the company is, who the person is, when it was opened, what stage it's at, what's its priority. If I care about territories, that's here. Jobs and products, again, that's an add-on that we're working on for somebody else, another presentation. But the point is we can add these type of things into the system and drop them into place. And then notice the bar across the top. So the bar across the top is directly attached to the staging area. So if I wanted to look at leads, which has a singular, I can click on that and I can get a lead in here. If I wanted to look at leads that have gone through a qualification process or we've submitted a proposal, and it allows me to segregate a relatively large list so that I know what I want to focus on today. I want to go focus on these proposals that we have submitted and see where we are with them, follow up with them. And I can find those in the system very quickly. Now I could go over to the right-hand side, and I've got filters and lookup capabilities and all of that. But as a salesperson, I want to get there quickly. I want to do what I need to do, and I want to move on. My attention span to technical detail is relatively short, and I just want to get on the phone, and I want to talk with these people, and I want to try and close the next sale. And so that is the idea. But I also want to understand where I'm at in the sales process. So when I look at opportunities, now I can turn on this statistics for staging. And right now I'm looking at the 4 opportunities. I have forecasted 209,000. My weighted average is $83,000 in sales. My average certainty right now is 40%. Well, how does it know my average certainty is 40%? Well, it's because when I go into an opportunity, I can have a workflow attached to it. And in that workflow, this is tracking of a workflow. In that workflow, I can come through and I can tell it what my certainties are as we go through here. So now that I did that one aspect, we're at least going to see this much. Okay, so what I did here is I simply accepted this. It got transferred to me. I accepted it, and the workflow now has logged the fact that I accepted that communication or that activity. So we'll back up. We'll come in, and you can see the workflows over here on the right-hand side. These are customized to this particular company. It's not a company, it's sample data, but it's customized specifically to the sample data here, so that to show you that this is the best way that we can identify this out. This is the best way that we can operate our particular operations here. So this is opportunities. So opportunities can bring in a couple of other things as well. So as I come through here and get back to the top line of opportunities, I also have the ability in opportunities to do notes. So I can create notes here and identify certain things. I can add or attach these communications. Remember, communications were our appointments and tasks. I can do that from directly within the communications tab of an opportunity. I can also upload documents directly in here. So if I have a particular document that I need to put in, maybe it's the proposal itself. So I'm just going to put a document here. I say open that document. It goes ahead and uploads it, asks me a little description on the document in favor, and now I say save. Okay, so just another way to come through here. I have to validate this. Give me a second. I just have to put some data in here, attach it to a team, create a communication. You don't have to create communications. Let's see if that makes it happy or not. No. So it's a demo. I don't know why it's not validating. I'm just going to back out of it. But normally what would happen is we would come in, we would upload this. You can see the file coming in here. We put the information on it. And now what it does is it becomes a document sitting here in the documents directory. I would see that document that comes through and says proposal PDF doc or customer specification doc, or if you're doing programming, you can upload versions or variants or notes of the operation. And then over here on the right, you can do merge to Word or merge to PDF. You can create your own documents specifically here. And so the system can actually generate link to Word, link to a PDF creator, and you can create a document automatically dropping in the customer and the address and other things that you have pre-spec'd in these Word templates that you can build, and then it will log them here in documents. So again, another way to aggregate data into that sales process. And then the last thing that we have right here in the opportunity is relationships. Now, this isn't set up in the demo, but you can set up a relationship so that if this demo and this company and this person is a sister company or somehow is related to somebody else inside a CRM, you can build these relationships so that they're obvious and easy to find. So that becomes the layout of an opportunity. If I go back to my CRM, we've looked at dashboards, calendars, opportunities. We have leads and contacts here, as well as forecasting, cases, shared documents, and configuration. So I'm not going to deal with cases at all because that's really a customer service function. I'm not going to deal with configuration because as a salesperson, you're going to get it configured once. You're never going to go back there again. We just looked at shared documents, although I can go there outside of the opportunity and simply upload a document in there at any time. It does not have to be linked to the opportunity. It doesn't have to be linked to anything except me. I could put a document up there, an XLS sheet up there of something I'm working on, and it would be available to me, and I could make it available to other people, but it doesn't have to be linked to a customer or an opportunity or a particular person except me, because it's my shared documents area. So again, in this My CRM area, it's really all about me. It's all about how do I manage my day. And in the new 7.3, with what's called the contemporary template, the one we're looking at, it is purely focused on me. Because when I come up, what's at the top here? My CRM, Team CRM, and reports. It really is all about me. And so when I come in here, even though there's a huge CRM system behind us here that other people are using differently than I do because they're in customer service or they're in vendor management and I'm a sales guy, this is about how I use CRM. This is about what I need to do. This is about how I get through each day, make sure I don't miss things and get a hold of those customers and get those proposals out the door and close those sales. Because after all, as a sales guy, that's what it's all about. If you're an existing CRM user, you're used to a look and feel that looks something like this. This is the traditional one prior to 7.3. This is 7.3, just rolled back to the traditional look. And if you notice, if we go to My CRM, and again, exactly, it's going to log us out here. And I'm going to go in as ONW. So as we come into the My CRM function in the old system, you get your calendar. Well, notice you get the same thing. You get dashboards, contacts, leads, opportunities, forecast, cases, shared documents, and preferences across the top. The difference is this menu has moved. And what it does is it creates much more of a focus on the My CRM section of CRM. So when I come back and look at this user using the new 7.3, I automatically drop into My CRM with its sales dashboard in this case, and I would default that to me. It's not in the demo, so that I came into this automatically all the time. And here is that calendar that we talked about. Here's contacts. Contacts are just a way to subset so that I don't send all the contacts in CRM or all my contacts in CRM down to Outlook, which then ultimately sends them all to my phone. And I don't want 150 contacts in my phone for people that I may or may not use that the service department is talking with, and they're not my direct contact. So it's a way for me to subset the users on companies' databases so that I send what I need to down to Outlook and ultimately down to my phone so that I have those contacts available to me from CRM. And then leads are just a place where it's called the leads database in the old system. So in the old design here, you could come in and say, find leads, and you came into the leads database. This is a subsection of CRM where we can upload massive amounts of data. Maybe we bought a list. And we don't really want to create CRM companies out of that list until we know that we've made contact with them and we've communicated with them. That's the leads operation. And it's no different here. It's in leads, and I can see my leads here so that I can manage those leads, and then I can upgrade them to opportunities and move them over to the main CRM. We looked at opportunities. Forecasting is interesting in the sales group because as an individual salesperson, I may not care, but if I'm working in a team of salespeople, or if I truly am sales management, then I want to know what my sales team is doing together. And so we don't have forecasting turned on here, but this would bring in some information on how the forecast is running by the quarter. Here you got committed, likely, best case, some ideas. So you can set up forecasting in there, although the demos don't have that put together. And so we've talked about all the aspects, and now let's move to Team CRM. And what's the difference here? Again, I'm a salesperson, but I might be working in a larger sales cycle where we have multiple people. For an example, I just locally here, I work with the local fire department, and we were doing presentations of fire trucks because they bought a new one. And so you have the local dealer, that's the sales guy. You have the rep from the manufacturer. He's in here. You got the ladder specialist. You got all these people. Well, they're all sales guys. And so this is where Team CRM would come to play. So you can come in then and look at an opportunity that the teams are doing. So you can look across multiple people here and look at the team and look at their aggregated forecast. You can also come into a team calendar and what is this sales team doing? And do they have a meeting set? And what you'll see is 2, 3, 4 of the same icon on the same day, meaning there are 4 people in that team that are going to attend some particular phone conference or meeting with a customer or whatever it may be. And so this gives you a way to aggregate the information across multiple salespeople and look at it in a very, very compact way. So it's not necessarily the preferred way to take a look at things because it can get very, very, very chaotic if you're busy, but it is a way to go ahead and do that. And so it's very functional. But one of the places that's interesting is to do that in the opportunities section. Because when you come into the team opportunity, now we've got one company that we're working with right now, and what we're going to do is rework this whole staging activity, because one of the things they do in a weekly sales meeting is they come through and go through all the opportunities across 5 or 6 or 7 salespeople, and it's difficult to do. They have this big long list. Everybody brings their list and they go through their list. And so I showed them how by setting up teams properly for that particular function and by modifying the way statuses are being used, we can get a team bar here. And now, just like we looked at before in my CRM, now the sales manager in the sales meeting can come through and look at all 12 qualified leads, even though they are across multiple salespeople. So this is now the next level above the I, and it's now the we. How do we, as a sales team, look at our opportunities and their statuses with sales management? How do we, as a team, determine our proficiency or look at our forecast or look at our weighting averages? What you get here is that ability to come through and look at all the ones that are qualified, all the ones that you have proposals submitted, all the ones that you're in negotiations with across the entire sales team, whether that's a 4-person team working on a ladder truck or a 12-person sales group selling electronics. It doesn't matter. We decide who's in the team. Now, I may make up 2 teams. I may make up a team that has specialties in a particular product grouping that we work with, and another team that works in a different product grouping. And so now the opportunities across those teams might look a little bit different, and the number in qualified versus negotiating might look a little bit different because the teams are different and the way they approach their sales might be different. And as a salesperson, I could actually be a member in multiple teams. So I could be writing proposals for Team A, and I could be writing proposals for Team B. My stuff would show up, and I would identify if this opportunity is part of Team A or if this opportunity is part of Team B, and then it would come up in those particular team CRM activities. And then the last place to take a look at with the couple of minutes that we have left here is, as a salesperson, I may need some reporting. So there's some lead reporting, some marketing reporting, some sales reporting. These are all reporting within the particular area and based on who's running the particular thing. So here we have an opportunity by sales rep, by group, or by territory, or by forecast. Here's my open opportunities. So for some reason you wanted to bring this along, or you needed a paper copy of everything that's in progress, you could come through here and go ahead and run a report. We're just going to run it to the screen, and I need to allow pop-ups because it's going to pop up into a new window. So here I can come in and look at, it's got a nice pretty bar graph across the top, and then as I scroll down through the report, I can see the individual things that made up this, and I can look across and see the description, the company, the person, the stage. This is just that grid that we saw in opportunities, only now it's coming out into a paper form, and we're taking a look at a nice bar graph across the top to make that data more relevant and readable to me. So there's a variety of reporting, most standard in the system, and then I can come into my favorite reports, so I can flag things favorite. Notice there's nothing here, but if I go back to that sales report, and I come in here to my open opportunities, and I click that to be a favorite. Now when I come to my favorites, that particular report will be there. So it's a way, again, as a salesperson, it's a way, again, for me to go through the larger grouping of data and determine which ones I like and which ones I don't like, and come in and flag them as my favorites. And we'll just, again, open this one. For kicks, this gives you an idea of a dashboard style report versus a detailed or list-based report. Not a lot of data in that one, unfortunately. But here again, I flagged that as a favorite. So when it comes into my favorites, now I'm going to have more than one favorite. So these are the way that you can come in and you can create new reports. Now, as a salesperson, you typically won't. That'll go back to either your internal people or your internal people connected with us as your supporting group on the Sage CRM, and we can develop an internal report that is more akin or attuned to what you want in reporting. But then let's take a look in the last couple of minutes. Let's just take a look at what else is in CRM. So in CRM over here, we've got a group of icons. Those icons allow us to do our preferences or log off. We're not an administrator, but if we were, we'd have the ability to go to the administrative areas here. I can come through and find companies, people, cases, opportunities. This all boils down to if you are a CRM user and you're here looking at the new one, this boils down to what CRM already has available. The minute I go to company, it looks pretty familiar. I can come in and look up a particular company. I'm just going to type something about that company that I know, and then I can go ahead and find it. And then I have the ability to come through and look at companies that are integrated into the accounting system or not integrated into the accounting system. And that allows me to come through and just take a look at some particular information here and come through. Let me just find what I'm looking for here. Yep, so we've got much of that turned off in this presentation. But we could come through. I'm going to come through over here. I've just switched users to the administrator. I'm going to go back to opportunities as the administrator. I'm going to open the opportunity here. One of the functions that we have if you're connected to the accounting system is the ability to quote from directly within CRM. Now this is nice because you can be outside the firewall, you can be on the road on an iPad, and you can actually write a quote directly into order entry from your CRM system. Now, I will warn you, when you implement this stuff, it does raise the level of complexity because we're creating a relationship, a connectivity between the CRM system and the accounting system. But it is very nice. It's a little resource intensive on the servers, so we got to work with your IT team, but it allows you to pull that order out past the confines of the network, the confines of the building, allows you to be on a mobile device, probably an iPad or a notebook just because of the size of the screens here. But allows you to actually do that. So if you're sitting in a meeting and they want to get a quote on something, or if you're in a hotel room after a meeting, you can actually get those quotes into the system this way, rather than writing them up in a memo and sending them off. So these are just some of the things as a salesperson come back to bring us back to home. Again, I'm the administrator now, so my home is the calendar, whereas this particular user, if I went to home, the home is the dashboard, and it comes through. This is an example of how different people can use the system differently. And so if I come back to this dashboard, this is where I live during the day. I prefer the month view, and then I've got everything I need across the top. So as a salesperson, why do I need CRM? Because it amalgamates all this data, granulates this data, but doesn't lose the fact that there are other things that are important. The last thing we talked about is I'm out of the office a lot. Now what do? This is a web-based product. It runs in a browser. And so it very easily can be pushed outside of the confines of the office, the confines of the network. It can run on an iPad, on a notebook, on a phone even, although we create different formats, it would not look like this on a phone because clearly the phone doesn't have that much real estate. But we are also able to tailor that look on the smaller devices so that we get the preferred look and feel on them. And then lastly was, I like Outlook and I don't want to change. Well, you don't have to if you really don't want to, but I would encourage you to embrace the more granular calendar of CRM and allow it to populate Outlook. If you like to be in Outlook on your phone and have your appointments and your emails and your tasks all on your phone while you're out of the office, knock yourself out. That's great. If it's linked back to CRM, just make the call that when you get into CRM, you are going to predominantly work in CRM when you're sitting at your desk or when you are on a larger platform, and then you're going to use the Outlook integrations and that ability to go both ways. When you're out visiting clients and all you have in your pocket is your phone, you are going to go in and put that appointment directly into the calendar on your phone so that it doesn't get missed. And with integration to Outlook, it is going to roll back to CRM. So you really don't have to leave your Outlook. I'm not forcing you to make this change, but I do think by working in CRM and working in that more granular calendar, you're going to get an advantage mainly while you're working on this or while you have other people scheduling your time. They will see that you have scheduled phone calls because, in my case, I have a red phone on there so that they know that's a scheduled phone style event and that they shouldn't schedule on top of that. They shouldn't bump that. They shouldn't move it. And so, if I'm leaving town, we use an airplane. Indicates that I am not just out for the day, but I am out. I traveled someplace. And these are the ways that the rest of my team can look at my schedule and know what I'm doing and whether or not they can schedule something for me. And consequently, I can look at it on my phone at the doctor's office, and I can see Thursday of next week, I have a call at 10 o'clock in the morning, but I can make that doctor's appointment at 11:30. I can put it directly in my phone, which flags that time inside of CRM so nobody else takes it. So I hope I've answered the questions. Why do I need CRM? Because it's just a better way to manage my life. I'm out of the office. Great. There's a lot of ways to handle that. And I like Outlook. Super. Continue to use it. But when you're sitting at your desk, be in CRM. That's the request that I would have of you. And with that, that brings us to a close. I want to honor the 45 minutes that you allot to us. And so, I will just say thank you. I'll open the phone lines up if you want to ask anything at all. But we'll just close it up here in about a minute and a half. If you don't have your phone active, just shoot me a chat in the chat bar if you have a question here, and we'll hang out just a minute and work for that. Okay, we got our first question in. It's not exactly sales related, but it was just, how does this go in our environment? And it is an application. It installs to a web server. And then in that web server, if you're using Sage 300, we install Sage 300 on that web server, CRM on that web server, and we do the integrations. The Exchange integration is an internal setting, and we can go to Exchange on your network, or we can go to Office 365 and put that through. Similarly, with the latest version, there's some Gmail integrations. It's not as robust as the Outlook integrations, but it is there for those people that are moving in that direction. But these are technical issues that aren't directly related to sales. So they're more, how do we move in this direction? And what it really means is we have to take a look at what you have for environment and hardware. It is going to require a web server. If you already have one, we may or may not be able to coexist with other things on a web server. But particularly if you're going to use quoting as an example, it's a very resource-intensive application, and so we recommend being on our own web server if we're going to implement those functionalities. But thanks a lot for that question. It was really a good one. And with that, I will, again, thank you for coming to another Frontline Systems Lunch and Learn, where we said, why do I need CRM? Have a great day, everyone, and thank you for your time.